What's up, guys? Brock Allen here. Recently, I've been chatting with some of my buddies about Lowrance mapping, and that prompted the idea to build a quick video to break down how I use Navico's CMap Genesis to basically put more fish in the boat. It helps me understand the bodies of water. As you can see here, these are some pictures from Lake Fork when I went there in March, and I used CMap Genesis to break down and understand the structure that I was fishing and find some of these pre-spawners. It took a couple days to help pattern these fish and figure out what was going on. But ultimately, without this system and program, it wouldn't have happened. So I owe a lot of credit to the best day of the water that I've ever had on the water to Navico, Lowrance, and CMap Genesis. So to get things started, I'm going to show you guys from start to finish how to find this site and how to set it up. So pull up your search engine, type in CMap Genesis. Not to be confused with CMaps. That's a different process, different program, different site. So that Genesis aspect is important when you're searching. So go ahead and click on that site. You're going to need to go ahead and sign up. I'll go ahead and log in. Once you create your account, first thing I would recommend is get some information off your units and add a plotter. So you're going to scroll down to the bottom of this page, your dashboard, find your plotters, and you're going to go ahead and add a device. So this is important. When you guys name your unit, it needs to be named the same, in my opinion, it needs to be named the same as the unit that is on your boat. If you haven't named your unit on your boat, then go in, change that, and then you're going to need to get some information from it. So you need to know what model you're using, find it in the list, click on it, go ahead and pull the serial number and the content ID off of that unit. You're going to find that under the settings tab. Once you get that information loaded, go ahead and submit it. Close that out. All right, I'm just going to close it out. So this is going to be important at a later time. I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that, because when you guys go ahead and build a map, it's important that you have this stuff set up properly. If you don't do this properly, what's going to happen is when you generate a map and you don't have the correct plotter assigned, what's going to happen is the unit basically just won't read the SD card. So that's important. So go ahead and get your plotter set up. Now from here, before you even do anything, you're going to need to be on the water. So as you guys are out fishing next time, before you go, YouTube, get on to Lowrance's website, Navico's website, and you guys can check out how to log Sonar tracks. And when you do that, it's pretty simple. It's real quick and easy. All you need is a 16 gigabyte SD card. Plug that into your unit and start tracking. A lot of you guys may think, well, that's going to take time. It doesn't. It takes 3 seconds to go ahead, start that process while you're fishing, or even if you're graphing offshore, you should be logging your tracks because I'll show you guys exactly why that's going to help you guys out. So once you guys get your tracks logged out on the water, you're going to bring that into your house, into your hotel room, wherever you guys are staying. Get into your computer, take that SD card out of your unit, plug it into your computer, and you're going to start upload. Once you start upload, you're going to go ahead, add Sonar logs. Over here on the left-hand side, if I had my SD card in, it would say, I named it mapping. So I'd find my mapping SD card, open that up, and you're going to see a list of tracks. So let's say these are my Sonar logs that I've created. What I'm going to do is highlight them all. I'm going to hit choose. I'm going to hit cancel for now. And once I hit choose, down here in this under file name, you're going to see 5 logs upload here. Or not upload, but just load up into the site. So it'll all start off with probably 00, 01, 02, 03, 04. So let's say I had 5 tracks. Those are going to be the 5 names that I would have. If you guys set up your account to where it can be private, you can click each one of those so that way you maintain privacy, or you can upload them to the social maps. It's up to you. It'll show you the size of the log here and then your status. So once I hit start upload, you can read the status over here. It's going to start with the first log, and it's going to go through the process of uploading. Once that's complete, you'll get an email letting you know that that log has been uploaded, and you can go ahead and check that out. I typically just wait for them all to upload and then check them all out at the same time. You guys do it as you see fit. What you need to pay attention to is to not close this window until uploading is completed. Another thing, another tip that I would throw out there for Mac users is if you guys have a screensaver pop up or it goes into power saving mode, what's going to happen is if, let's say, you got 2.5 tracks into that process before the screensaver or went into power saving mode, it's more than likely going to time out. So that means you're going to have to go back in, review, and see where it stopped, and then go back through that process and upload those tracks that you missed. So let's say I got 2.5 in. That means I'm gonna have to go to my third log, upload 3, 4, and 5, and go through that process again. So get into your settings and change the power saving mode, change your screensaver settings to where it doesn't affect the uploading process. If you have a whole lot of stuff to upload, I'd recommend pushing that out to where it doesn't go into power saving mode and just watch your computer, plug it into a power source, and let it do its job. So let's say we got all of our tracks uploaded, we got our email confirmations, we know that it's there. We go ahead and close this out. Now we want to review these things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our trip list. Before I forget, pay attention when these things pop up. If you're using some of these units, just go ahead and read over what they say and do what you need to. So I'm going to show you guys a couple tracks on Silver Lake and how it's affected, or how I can use these to make waypoints, look at what I've been fishing, and just ultimately learn a little bit more aside from what I actually learned on the water that day. So as you can see here, we've got dates. So it shows me what date I was on the water. These times are not accurate, so don't pay attention to that. At least mine's not accurate. So we're going to go to April 3rd, 2016, 0000. So if you look right here, this shows me a map of Silver Lake, and it shows me these little red lines. You can barely see them. On bigger bodies of water, more than likely you're not going to be able to see those red lines. So what you can do is you can click it. It's going to bring up a map of the lake, and it's going to show you where you were mapping for this log. So I know that I want to check that out. So I can go in, hit View Trip. Another way to scroll through your logs is to check out this little button right here, and you can see all my logs are here. So this is another way when I get done viewing this one, if I want to go to the next one, drop down, go up, whatever I want to do. So once I get here, a couple features you can see. You got like a Google Map, Google Earth overlay, and I've got some features here to check out. So I got track. If I click that, it takes away my red lines, which is the path that my boat was on. Yellow dot is the boat. Contours, I can change my contour interval. Layers, I've got contours only, vegetation, composition, and waypoints. Vegetation, if you click on this, it's going to show patches of green. It's going to show you where you had some vegetation growing. Composition, it's going to be shaded. So everything that's a lighter color is going to be your softer bottoms, and then your darker colors are going to be your harder bottoms. When you guys are doing this, if you guys click on composition, I'm not going to do this right now because it would take a while for this to upload and I don't want to go through that process. But if you do click on this, pay attention to the subtleties. The smallest little dot on your track is going to show a hard bottom. It could be very small, it could be very large, depending on your body of water. But those small subtleties can go a long way with helping you out. So over here on this side, I've got my 2D side, and then I've got my down scan. So I can view either one I want as I'm going through this process. So I'm going to go ahead, hit play. This is double the speed, stop, back up, double speed. Okay. So we're going to go through. I'm going to scroll around or move around here. I can see a little bait ball stacking up there. What's cool about this is sometimes if you don't read 2D very well, let me go back to that. You can get into your down scan and it shows a bait ball. Okay, sometimes you may see trees stacked up or standing timber. So if you're not very savvy with reading your 2D, your down scan will definitely break it down for you. So I'm going to get back into my 2D mode, speed this process up. Got some bait balls swimming around up there. Got to get through this deeper water before I see this little patch right there. Okay, so I've got a little point sticking out here. A more shallow, larger point up here, but down at the bottom it looks like I've got some fish stacked up. So if this is a point of interest that I want to take into consideration the next time I'm out on the body of water, I want to drop a waypoint on it. So what I can do is there's a couple ways you can do this. One is if you know the feature based off of just the contours, that's great. Like if I wanted to fish this ridge, I can take the track off and just drop a waypoint right there. But if I want the track on, I like to do this because I get this line right over where I want this waypoint to be dropped, which tells me it's going to be right there on that yellow dot. So for PC users, it's really quick and simple. Right click, it's going to drop a waypoint. Mac users, gets kind of confusing. All you got to do is hit Control and then hit down on your pad and add waypoint. So I'm just going to name this fish just to keep it simple. So I've got a waypoint. You can see that little yellow or blue dot comes up. Scroll through. And you can see when I did that, it brought up the other waypoints that I've already created on this lake. So I'm just cruising along, seeing all this structure, pretty awesome stuff. And I can see my boat gets right over this other waypoint, which is just another little sack of fish that maybe I wanted to check out. Or as I cruise along, I see a hump right there that is right there. I'll back you guys up on that. So you can see hump, waypoint. Okay. So you guys get the point of how to drop waypoints. So now what I want to do is if I want to take this information and get it to my unit, what I want to do is I want to scroll over to this, highlight it says Manage Waypoint Layers. Click on that. From here, I've got a couple options. Upload waypoint group from GPX file. I want to download all waypoints to GPX file or delete all waypoints. So this function right here is if I had waypoints on my unit, I would download that from my unit to a GPX file. And then I would click on this and upload that into my map so I can see where those waypoints are. Or if I want to take what I've created and seen after the fact, so I've been out fishing, I marked some waypoints, but I want to see it on the map, that's how I upload by doing this process. Now if I want to take what I've seen after the fact out here that I just created, I take it and I hit this button right here, download all waypoints to GPX file. Click that, hit save, and it uploads right here. So I'm going to take that, drop this file to my desktop. I do this just so I can make a quick file here, Silver Lake, waypoints. Now, when I'm done with building all my waypoints or viewing them and I want to get them back to my unit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my SD card in, go into my Finder, pull this up, and over here on the side I would have my SD card named mapping. I would take this file, drop it straight down into whatever SD card I have, eject that SD card, and then go plug it into my unit. Once I plug it into the unit, you go into the settings, upload that file, and boom, those are right there on your unit and you're ready to go. So you guys can see the advantage to fishing while you're out there, taking those waypoints, looking at what you are fishing on the map, and then turning around, reviewing your track while you're fishing, seeing what maybe you have overlooked, what you missed, and then create new waypoints, and now you have new waypoints to go back out and fish for your next cycle. So if I wanted to continue on, click on that button. I can continue on with the rest of my track. Okay. So let's say we've created 5 logs, but we want to create a map. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into merge trips. So put your icon or your icon over merge trips, and you can see it brings up all the sonar logs that I have for Silver Lake. So I can do each individual one. Let's say I just wanted to do, these 4. Great, I can do that. Or you click that, it highlights them all. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and merge trips. I'm not going to click on this right now because then it's going to merge a map that I've already created, which I don't necessarily need or want to do right now. Okay. Once you merge those trips, it's going to give you the option to select for vegetation or composition or contours only. If you're in a time crunch, I would recommend only doing contours. Vegetation and composition is going to take added time. So if you're trying to do this overnight and make sure that it happens, because you've got fishing to do tomorrow, I would recommend doing contours only. If you have the time to spare, that's when you can add the composition and your vegetation. So that's another tip for you. Now, once you merge those trips, right over here, you're going to see a little highlighted yellow area that says 1 trip in process, something to that effect. Once that's complete, again, you're going to get an email confirming that it's done. And then what you want to do is you want to go into My Merges. So you can pull up all the tracks that you've created over time and view as you merge those together. So you got 12 trips merged, 15, 16, and I go down to 21. Let's say I want to view that trip. So this is going to show me the map that I've created with all of my logs after I've merged them. All right. Okay. So once I get here, it shows everything that's been merged together, and I can read things in a little bit more detail. Again, if I wanted to change layers, I can do that. I can change the contours depending on the map. And you'll see that while you're here looking at this map, you're like, hey, there's not that great a detail. The contours aren't that specific. But once you go ahead and generate a map, then you can get into very tight contour lines, or if you like them a little more broad, it's up to you. So we've merged our trip, or we've logged our sonar logs, we've merged them all together, and now we've got a map that we can take out to the lake and fish on. So what you want to do is go to map generation. You're going to see your target device. This goes back to what I said before about making sure you upload and add the device correctly, because you want to name it the correct name. So I've got BA1. I know that I'm going to plug my SD card into BA1. If I upload this to BA2 and then try to plug my SD card into BA1, it's not going to work. So you need to make sure that you have that device set up properly. I can include contours, vegetation and contours, or composition and contours. Me personally, I don't like seeing the different shades of color on my map, because I do a color code based off of depth. I just try to know and waypoint where my hard spots are based off of my map study. That's me personally, but it's up to you guys how you guys want to do that. Once I want to generate my map, I hit generate. It's going to start loading, saving this, and again, it's going to drop up here to this file once it's complete. This may take a little bit of time. It's not too bad. Apologize for the Wi-Fi. Sitting in a hotel room right now, so it's not that great. All right, so successfully generated map. Go ahead and click save. I've got it up there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this folder, and now I've got it saved to my desktop. I'm going to save it to Silver Lake. Drop this down. I've got a folder over here that I like to keep some of my maps in. And you can see where I've got Sprague, Powell's, Moses, Loon, Long. I can take this, put it in here. Now what I need to do is I have my 16 gigabyte 16 gigabyte SD card loaded up. So all I have to do is take this file right here and plug that onto my SD card, take my SD card out to my unit and upload it, and then I've got my maps. So I wouldn't recommend doing a bunch of maps all at the same time, just because it can get kind of congested. And every time you upload or start up your unit, it's going to upload each one of those lakes, so it's going to take a little bit of time. But if you lake hop a lot, you got a lot of lakes in your area, it may not be a bad idea. So for those of you guys up in Eastern Washington, having multiple lakes on an SD card isn't a big deal, but that's up to you guys. I would highly recommend having a separate SD card. So I would have an SD card that has my maps saved, and then I would have a separate SD card for when I'm actually mapping, so that way it doesn't get congested and I have the space available to actually track these things. So let's say we go out and we want to check out a lake that we haven't been on, but we want to have some detail to what we want to fish. What you're going to do is go to social map, click on that like I did, and it brings up your social maps. So I'll take you guys to a pretty great lake out here in Eastern Washington, and that's going to be Newman. Oh, back up a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, Newman's pretty well mapped out. There's a lot of stuff out in the middle that hasn't been mapped, but it's not that big of a deal. So what I can do is click this little raindrop, download. Now down here it highlights what I want to do, what plot I want to go to, again what depth or composition. I again stick to just depth, download map, save file, same process. Newman Lake, drop that over, put it into my mapped lakes, and I've got it. Now I load that up to my SD card and I'm ready to go. Take you guys to a bigger body of water, not Pend d'Oreille, Coeur d'Alene. You guys can see that there's not a whole lot of stuff that's done, but you know it's just dependent on where people have been. You can see there's a lot of people fishing down in this area for the social maps. Maybe you want to check that out. It just kind of gives you an idea of where people may be fishing. I'm going to scroll over to one of my local lakes now that I've moved out to Missouri, if I can get this website to work properly. Oh, geez. Okay. So we pull up Lake of the Ozarks, and again, you've got different arms and fingers that you can check out. You can add on to with the social map. You can take this. Keep in mind, you can't take what's on the social map and upload it to your personal account. What's on social is on social. What you put on your personal is separate, but you can always take what's on your personal and upload it to social if you want to. It's just your call. But as you guys can see, if I wanted to go fish Lake of the Ozarks, this kind of gives me an idea of where other anglers have been, where they've been mapping, maybe where they've been catching fish. It's just an area to start off with. So some of you guys may be thinking, you know, why do I need to do this? I use an avionics chip or I use CMap, the CMap chip. But the fact of the matter is you learn a lot while you're out there, and those maps can get you into those areas. But when you go through this process, you're going to go back and you're going to look at and see what you overlooked. You may understand why you caught those fish better, or why you didn't, why you missed them, why your cast was 50 yards off. You know, you missed the drop off, you missed the rocky hump, the grass line, whatever it is. It's just another tool that you can add to your arsenal that's going to make you a better angler, and it's going to give you the ability to go back and study what you did at that time on the water. That if without doing it, you're not going to see it. Another thing I will say is I don't want to knock any other systems or companies that are out there, but what I will say is as an angler, I've used most of them all that work with my Lowrance units, and I've plugged chips in, and I've been out there looking, thinking I'm on 50-foot water, expecting to see a drop off, you know, coming from 20 to 50, and there's nothing there. Or I've actually been running wide open, expecting to be in 20, 30 feet of water, and I found myself in 6. So that could be a hazard. In my opinion, Navico's products, CMaps and CMap Genesis, it's on point. It's going to make you a better angler. That's just how I've used it and what I feel that works the best. So what I've done is on those first initial pictures, I threw my Instagram account up there. I've also got my email up there for you. If you guys need to, you can hit me up on either one of those. Feel free, drop some questions. Let me know if something's working for you, something's not, and I can lend a hand. But I hope this helps you guys. I know it's helped me. The first year that I started fishing with these units and this mapping process, I had a buddy show it to me, and it was only my second year of bass fishing, and I ended up finishing AOI for the club I was with. The following year, I was doing the same process, same stuff. I was on track to finish again, but I had a deployment come in, and it took me away from the running. So the facts are there. It works. I mean, look at those pictures of Lake Fork, man. That was just such an epic day. And like I said before, without using these tools, I would have missed it. I wouldn't have caught those fish. I wouldn't have understood what I was doing or why I was doing or why I was being successful. So like I said, if you got any questions, hit me up and let me know. Hope you guys liked the video, and good luck. Tight lines.